dozens of children are dying of starvation. The images of mothers embracing their motionless bodies, caressing their hair, talking to them, apologizing to them, is unbearable. How could anyone tolerate this horror? Mr. President, I thank you for convening this meeting and thank UN Special Coordinator Sigrid Kaag for her important briefing and her efforts. I also express our deep appreciation to Dr. Firouz Sidwa for his compelling briefing, for his service to save wounded Palestinians, especially children in Gaza, and for his appeals for an end to this brutal war on our people. Let me also reiterate our support and gratitude to the Secretary General, Mr. Guterres, to Tom Fletcher, to Mr. Lazzarini, and many others, including the heroic staff of the UN in defending, serving, and saving lives at the expense of theirs. Mr. President, there is cruelty in the bombardments, cruelty in the wanton destruction, cruelty in the blockade, and even cruelty in the distribution of very limited aid. We will be asked, how can you complain about food finally being delivered after having complained about starvation and famine? Isn't it any aid better than no aid at all? Who said these should be our choices? The doomed fate of our people. A full blockade against an entire civilian population, including 1 million children, depriving them of food, water, medicine, shelter, or a system of aid that is degrading, discriminatory, limited to food and limited in quantity, and which aims at the forcible displacement of the population and at facilitating the unlawful seizing of land. Do you know how we know this is the objective? Israeli officials are openly telling the world that this is their intention. Statement after statement, threat after threat. After seeing starvation used as a weapon of war, now we see aid being used as a weapon of war. Should we remain silent because the alternative is worse? Or should we stand up for the humanity of Palestinians, of all civilians in any situation of armed conflict? The images of hungry, desperate people storming out of the cages they were forced into in order to get aid is gut-wrenching and heartbreaking. These are people, human beings, deprived of water, food, medicine for so long and hanging to life by a thread. This is outraging the Palestinian people, all of them, including me. It is outrageous to see this situation and still you are not acting. How much more do you want? Israel wants to appear as allowing aid in, while continuing to make sure life cannot actually be sustained in Gaza. If Israel wanted aid in, it would open the crossings and allow humanitarian aid to enter immediately and fully, in coordination with the UN, including UNRWA, which proved during the ceasefire its ability to deliver aid to all those in need throughout the Gaza Strip. The UN plan, with its proven capacity on the ground, remains the only viable plan to deliver aid in line with the humanitarian obligations and principles, and it has all necessary safeguards, if that is the true concern. But the true concern is how to get rid of the Palestinians by killing them, starving them, and destroying Gaza so they have no choice but to leave if they want to live. In his speech yesterday, Netanyahu said two truths. The first is a Freudian slip, and I quote, "When you try to target civilians, you invariably hit civilians." End of quotation. And indeed, Israel has been hitting civilians. The second truth is, and I quote, "You always demonize before you annihilate." Let me repeat it. You always demonize before you annihilate. End of quotation. He was saying that as a historical lesson for all. What did he say about Gaza? And I quote, "This is the war of good against evil, the beginning of a determined war that is being waged on the battlefield. It is being waged against the human animals," that's us, "against the monsters," that's us, "that attacked us with hideous brutality 20 months ago, and we will defeat them and annihilate them. They will not remain. They will not remain." End of quotation. He repeated yesterday, and I quote, "This is a war of civilization against barbarism." End of quotation. We have to ask, is it civilized to bomb indiscriminately, to commit daily massacres, to kill entire families, to destroy all the requirements of life and survival for over 2 million people, including 1 million children? Is it civilized to blockade and to starve a people? If this is civilized, what is barbarism then? Is it civilized to bomb schools, serving as shelters for displaced civilians? When you see the images of 6-year-old Ward al-Sheikh Khalil, the first question should be, how did she find herself amidst the flames, which my brother Ammar showed you the picture? It is because of an Israeli strike on a school turned into a shelter. 36 people were killed in that strike, mostly women and children. Ward survived, but her mother and 5 of her siblings did not make it out of the burning buildings. And again, my brother Ammar showed you the pictures. She will forever have to live with that trauma. And as the distinguished brother Ferouz told us, 50% of those who are under 5 years old are not looking for life, they are looking for death. because they cannot bear the pain of losing so many of dear ones, of their families and siblings. If we stop this genocide before she is killed too, Ward. Dr. Al-Najjar, who was honoring her noble mission as a doctor trying to save lives, saw her children as they arrived to the hospital, their bodies burned and already dead. She lost 9 of her 10 children. A horror and trauma the mind cannot comprehend. The heart cannot withstand. Since Israel broke the ceasefire in March, over 1,300 Palestinian children have been killed, and around 4,000 have been injured. These are children. Children. And still, a war against barbarism. Children. Dozens of children are dying of starvation. The images of mothers embracing their motionless bodies, caressing their hair, talking to them, apologizing to them, is unbearable. How could anyone tolerate this horror? Excuse me, Mr. President. I have grandchildren. I know what they mean to their families. And to see this situation of the Palestinians without us having hearts to do something is beyond the ability of any normal human being to tolerate. Flames and hunger are devouring Palestinian children. This is why we are so outraged as Palestinians everywhere, the 14 millions of us in the occupied territories, in the diaspora, in the refugee camps, in far places, all the way to California and in between. We love our children. We love our people. We don't want to see them going through this tragedy and this savage attacks by those who claim the virtues of fighting against barbarism. But Netanyahu mocks claims of starvation in Gaza, despite the overwhelming evidence. And what proof does he rely on? That Israel takes thousands of prisoners and photograph them half naked, and that you can see they are not starving. He is speaking of the prisoners parked in trucks by the hundreds, or in the open last winter and the one before, including children. More inhumane and cruel treatment, more dehumanization, more disregard for basic human decency. Netanyahu claims that Israel is supplying the population with essential requirements: food, water, medicine. That's why he, and I quote him, that's why you didn't have mass starvation at all, he says.